Hey guys, it's Katie, and I'm here today to do a review of the Winternight Trilogy by Katherine Arden. For those of you who have never heard of this trilogy, it consists of three books, the first being The Bear and the Nightingale, the second being The Girl in the Tower, and the third and final book being The Winter of the Witch. And these books are a historical fantasy trilogy that take place in medieval Russia, right on the cusp of the turnover between paganism and Christianity, and ultimately the events that led up to actually those two different things living in coexisting peace, kind of a thing. But basically, what these books follow, and I'm going to try and do everything in an all-encompassing thing like I normally do, because I'm doing it in a trilogy rather than a standalone book, but I'm going to try and do this as best as I can. So basically, what this trilogy follows, our main character named Vasilisa Petrovna, who mostly goes by Vasya, because it's a nickname for Vasilisa, and her ability to see the creatures of old and all of these different spirits that people used to worship or that have been fairy tales throughout time, and kind of how she deals with the relationships between them as well as the people that she actually lives with regularly. It's like her family or different people that she meets along the way. But, the main theme that is running through this tale is the aspect of religion and kind of finding a balance. But also, Vasya, being who she is a very, very strong-willed female who is just resisting all of the female norms of the society at the time, like finding a husband and getting married and having children at a relatively young age. And if she doesn't do that, going to a convent and living out her days in piety. And she's just resisting all of that. She wants to live her own life in freedom and not have to deal with everybody. And she is just a stunningly phenomenal character, and I love her with my whole being. But I also love a lot of the other people and creatures that we meet along the way. There are all of these different spirits, and all of them are so well characterized and so incredibly fun to read about. The human side is very interesting because you just see the tension between certain characters and people that they encounter and that they interact with. Most of them are interactions between Vasya and people that she meets or interacts with, like people in her family even. And she's just kind of struggling to find a balance between the two of them because she loves her family with her whole heart and her whole being, but she also really deeply cares about all of these spirits that she has been, dealing with her whole life. And it's just a really, really interesting and beautiful thing to watch. But kind of launching into each of the components separately, the world building is phenomenally done. As I said, it's a historical fantasy, so most of it takes place in actual Russia, but it has all of these fantasy elements thrown in, like the different fairy tales and folklore that have come to life, and Vasya's powers to see them and things like that. And it's just a really, really well done and well built world, because as someone who studied Russia, and whether it's Russian history or culture, and even has a little bit in myself because of my Slavic roots, I thought that Katherine Arden did a phenomenal job of making it accurate and being respectful to the culture. Unlike another trilogy that I read recently, I'm still bitter. About it. Historical documents from this time period in particular are very, very scarce, and they're just not something that you see a ton of, so there's not a lot that's known about the period in time. But the parts that were, I thought she did a really good job with. Then the plot in the first book was a little bit slow at times. It took a little bit of time for it to kind of get going. I love slow burn fantasy, so I didn't really see it as sloggy, but I know that some other people might have. I mean, it's just said, it starts out really slow. Like the first maybe quarter of the book, it just seems like nothing is going on, but in fact, there's a lot going on, and it all becomes more and more important as time goes on. But I just want to warn people that the plot of the first book is more character focused and more about the atmosphere than anything else. If you want more plot heavy things, that's going to fall more into the second and the third books. They're all tied together, but each one focuses on something different. So the first one, as I said, focuses more on the characters and the certi, or the demon / spirit side of things. The second book, The Girl in the Tower, focuses more on the human aspect and the human side of things, and, you know, Christianity side of things. And then the third book is kind of intertwining the two in certain ways. It's spectacularly done. What Katherine Arden did was a really, really phenomenal thing. And moving on to the writing was so well done. It made you fall into the book and you can just be there. Like, I actually remember writing on Twitter one time that even though I was under the covers of my bed, tucked in tight, wearing, you know, an extra blanket on top, when I was reading this book and I was inside my house, I could feel the chill and the coldness and the wetness of where we were. It was just so well done, and it just really draws you in, and I love books that can just draw you in and make you feel like you are living the thing that you're reading about, rather than just, you know, witnessing it kind of on the outside. It was just so, so well done. And then finally, the characters. I loved all of the characters for different reasons. I mean, did I get frustrated with them a lot of the time? Yes. But I wouldn't love it as much as I do if I didn't. Because if you guys don't know by this point, I love characters who don't necessarily love them all the time. They make mistakes. They make you feel things. They feel so real. And that's how I felt about most of the characters in this trilogy. Vasya is an incredible character. As I said, she's very, very just kind of like anti-establishment, and I just love that she doesn't want to deal with all of the stuff that she's being forced into. And I love her family members for different reasons. All of them are very great and very fascinating and have a really in-depth story and personality to them. And then I love all, and I mean all, of the demons and spirits that we got to meet. The Winter King is arguably my favorite buddy. Like, he's everything, okay? Just, I will fight you. All of them are so well done and well written, and I remember reading and hearing some tales about them throughout different experiences I've had, and I just thought that it was just such a well done experience. And even as time goes on, we meet new spirits and creatures and things, and I just love every single one of them. Just so good. If you can't tell, I loved this trilogy so much, and it was so well done, and I am dying to know more, even though I know it's the end. I'm hoping that at some point Katherine Arden might consider writing some short stories or novellas about certain things that, you know, I want to know more about that happened at the end of the Witcher of the Witch. But honestly, it was just phenomenal, and the relationships and just how everything was resolved and just how everything flowed, it was just very, very well done. And I would highly, highly recommend picking this up if you haven't already, but know that it is a slow burn fantasy and that there are certain tropes and certain predictable aspects to it as you're going. Another thing I will warn you about, though, is there are some content warnings. There's content warnings for sexual harassment and I guess attempted rape and animal death, gore. So I mean, there are some kind of violent aspects to it, so if you can read beyond those, I'd highly recommend picking this up. But yeah, that's about it. So you guys know the drill at this point, but if you guys have read any of these books, feel free to come talk to me down in the comments or on Twitter, because I'd love, and I mean love, to talk to you guys about it. And if you don't know already, I have both of my social media links down in the description box below. I have a Twitter and a Goodreads, so feel free to come find me over there if you'd like. And I will catch you later with another video for you guys again soon. Okay, bye.